I'm Steve Shelton, and this is Caleb's story. Caleb was an exceptionally gifted athlete from a very young age. Played many sports. His passion was baseball. So as I coached him for several years up until the early teen years, but he played high school baseball at Western Guilford High School here in Greensboro. Went on baseball scholarship to North Carolina A&T State University. Transferred to St. Benedict's College in Columbia, South Carolina, and played a year of baseball in South Carolina. So baseball was his passion. Caleb was a very outgoing individual, very compassionate, very kind, had no enemies, never met a person that he didn't like or like him. So just does not fit the profile of what we would tend to think about people who are in various stages of drug addiction today. Caleb was the victim, as are a lot of athletes, of some major injuries. He had 2 surgeries in his left arm, his pitching arm, for labrum tears. And then he had just a horrific motorcycle accident shortly after college as well. So he certainly had been through his fair share of pain insofar as sports injuries. I think the pain is what led to Caleb's use of opiates for every surgery that he had, which were many. So I think that led to a dependency for him, as it does for a lot of athletes. Caleb had suffered for several years from depression, low self-esteem, was not confident in himself, what he would call bad places. He would say, "Dad, I'm in a bad place." And he really wasn't very open in the discussion about it, so it was a very difficult thing for him to talk about. And I don't think the mental concerns that we had for Caleb were ever adequately addressed by our medical professionals. Part of that was I think Caleb bears responsibility for part of that, in that I don't think he was always honest with the physicians and the diagnosis. So Caleb tended to turn to opiates in increasing amounts, and up to heroin as an escape mechanism to relieve that emotional and mental pain. On October 13th, I was on a business trip in Chicago. My cell phone rang at 1:30 in the morning, Central Time. It was my oldest son. And when I answered the phone, it was just a chaotic, frenzied phone call that my youngest son, Caleb, had passed away from a apparent heroin overdose. So very traumatic. My wife found him in our home. He was living in our home at the time. My oldest son, who lives close by in Greensboro, came to her aid as quickly as possible. But I was 1,000 miles away, which made it very difficult for me. But we certainly had just a unbelievably compassionate police detective on scene. The first responders, EMS, firefighters worked feverishly to revive Caleb, but he was already gone at that point. The first responders, I can't say enough about how appreciative we are of their efforts. I think that they see these type situations almost daily, if not daily, because the opiate addictions are at epidemic proportions. I think that they are very professional. At the same time, I think they become a little calloused or accustomed to seeing the situation, but there is certainly a human side to that story. Caleb was a son, a brother, a father, and we just want the first responders to always remember that lives are changed. Addiction is a disease, and it has to be treated as a disease. And I think it's critical that those that are in these potential situations know that help is available to them, that they have the right avenues and the right contacts to seek out that help before they make what could be a fatal decision. I really wanted to tell Caleb's story because Caleb is not, he's an all-American kid. And this epidemic does not discriminate by gender, race, societal class, economic opportunity, or education. It's rampant across all levels of our society, and in particular our young people. I think it is my mission left in life to honor him by doing whatever I can to spread that message.